that
This conference
prescription
will now be recorded.
okay, so it's important to understand that prescription is just a bunch of number, it doesn't tell you about what the patient needs. The patient might be uh, having some specific demands. He might be working in some specific he might be having some specific occupational hazards. He might be a chemist working in a laboratory. He might be a sportsman who is spending most of his times outdoors, or even maybe a indoor sportsman. But a snooker player, the posture at which they play is quite different. So so the overall fitting for them is very different. So we need to consider all of that, and then we offer them what best we can. And I think this is a very simple mantra, or however we can say it. We need to, if all of us need to maximize sale, right? And dispensing money is a primary goal or the objective of any organization. To maximize sale, we need to maximize the value that we give to the customer or the patient. How can we maximize the value? So whatever we are giving, that should be useful, and that should actually help the patient in certain way. And that is what we talk about. That is what we will be talking about. So this is a very simple thing. Maximizing value will automatically maximize your sale. So if you start giving products, or if you start dispensing, if you start selling spectacles targeted to increase the quality of life of the patient, I always look at it in that way. अगर आप चश्मे इस तरीके से बेचेंगे या डिस्पेंस करेंगे कि पेशेंट के लाइफ में कितना सुधार आ रहा है, how much improvement is coming, then automatically your sales will go up. Then you don't need to think about other buy one get one offers or whatever. So this is very important. And it is also very important that we should always talk value again. So value is very important. So the value proposition you give to your customer. What is value proposition? So value proposition is basically, आप जो प्रोडक्ट दे रहे हो उससे पेशेंट को कितना इम्पैक्ट हो रहा है पॉजिटिव मैनर में. If you are just taking his prescription, giving him a pair of spectacles, that would just be like you are just correcting his refractive error. You are just doing his basic need. You are fulfilling his basic need. आपने उसका vision 6 कर दिया. You are, but what about his other requirements? He might be requiring specific type of frame, specific type of lenses to complement with his lifestyle, and that is what will offer him value. So he will never discuss about price. If you fulfill his requirement properly, he will never ask you about price. And this is a very interesting, I think I had shared this before also, that if a client tells you that I know people who, they might come and tell you that that optical shop near you, they are offering me for less price. You can always be confident in your skills, in what product you're offering, and the consultation you are giving, that I have patients and customers who can pay me more. It depends on you where you want to go. And I think this is where I've shared a video to Kapil in Messenger. We tried to play it, but it was very difficult to play it. What we'll do is, I've shared the video, you all can go back and watch it later. And it talks about value, and it talks about how prices don't matter, and what you offer to the patient matters. So I'll just skip that for now. I'll skip that video for now. You all can watch that later. What other, like, what take home message actually we had from that video, I'll just share it generally now.
So
Yeah,
can we take
yeah,
some minutes and allow to all go back to the messenger group and see once, and we'll be continuing the session.
yeah, okay.
Is this
It's
good
very
for you?
nice if you all can go back to the messenger, or you can share the link here, Kapil, in the chat box. However, I've
Okay.
shared a link with Kapil. If you all can just watch that video, it's a very, very short video. If you all can just watch that video and come back, I'll also play the video here. Okay.
Okay. So can you please forward me in WhatsApp? It will be easy for me.
Okay, no problem. So I'll be playing it here, no problem. You all can just look through the caption, just understand very broadly. We'll just play.
I guess it's so lagging, sir. It will be better go to the. I have also shared the link on chat box. You can check yourself,
No
and
problem.
if you are
No
in
problem.
Albano, yes,
Okay. You all can watch this video later. That's okay. Or you want me to give? It's just a 2-minute video. Basically, it's nothing. This video actually is about so this is a presenter. He is actually trying to explain how value is more important than price, and he gives his own example that he is the most expensive speaker, and he never lets anyone negotiate his prices. And then he also gives an example of Toyota and Lamborghini. So no customer walks into a Lamborghini store and tells that Toyota is cheaper. Can you lower your prices? Lamborghini will of course respond, right? Go Toyota. It's a different product. So it's a very simple message. You all can go back and see this. In the meanwhile, I'll just go ahead. So what was the take-home message from this video, and in general, what my point is to convey to you all is that patients are never price fixated. They never. So even when you go to shop, when you go to into a shop to buy something, you never have one price fixed in your mind, right? You look at the product. If you like something, you can extend your budget somewhere here and there. So patients are never price fixated. They are always value conscious. What value they are getting by buying something. So that is very important. And this is a very common mistake we make. Pigeonholing means uh, looking at every patient or customer as black and white. Whoever comes in, we have some assumption in our mind that looking at his clothes or looking at his behavior or his language, we make up an assumption that he will not be able to afford this, or this might not be valuable to him. So we should never do that. That is our biggest mistake as dispensing professionals. We should always keep our
okay.
yeah.
Okay, sir. If somebody belongs to the small city, the peoples are more concerned about the price, so they want less price. So in that condition, what we should do?
So basically it's not always about price. So this lifestyle dispensing is, you can also dispense hard coat lenses very cheap, lowest prices. It's 150 200 rupees lens. Yeah, you can also give that lens to the patient, to the right patient. It is not like because of the price you should give hard coat lenses to everyone. I'll give you one example. My own mother, my mother, uh, she wears hard coated progressive lenses. She doesn't wear ARC coated lenses. Now normally in cities like in Bombay, Bangalore, in Kathmandu, maybe big cities, if you go to buy spectacles, every optical shop will give you ARC lenses, anti-reflected coating lenses. But it is not necessary, right? So my mother doesn't work on the computer for a long time. She mostly is a housekeeper. So she uses her spectacles around the kitchen, around the house. So she wants it to have scratch free property the highest. So my mother itself is wearing hard coat lenses. So it's never about price. My point is you should give what the patient really wants. It should fulfill their purpose. Now in terms of if someone can spend more, if I try and give them ARC lenses, there's no point. It will not be useful for them. So this is just generally I'm saying that we should never assume that patient cannot afford or can afford or whatever. Our work is to just understand what is best for them. And to
Okay.
understand what is best for them, the most important point is that we should listen. We don't listen, we speak too much. So when the customer or the patient comes in, we keep speaking. I have this lens, I have this lens, I have this, I have Bukit lens, I have this lens. This price is this price is this. If we keep speaking, we can't listen what the patient wants. We need to open our ears and listen. So if you listen, you will know what the patient wants. If a again an example, if a person who is a factory worker, let's say, and he comes in, he wants a simple pair of glasses, he doesn't have much money to spend. in that case, you give him options that we have hard coat lenses also, we have ARC coated lenses also, but because you work in a dusty environment, ARC coating doesn't make sense for you. Hard coat coating will be more important for you. You might not make more money, but you might gain trust. Yeah, I think you people understanding that. You people are all understanding that the trust you gain will be more important. That the patient will be yes, that this particular shop or particular professional, he doesn't want money. He wants what is best for me, and really he will be happy with a hard coat lens, because if he takes a ARC coated lens, within 6 months the coating will start peeling, because he's working in a very dusty environment. So we need to listen what they are doing, their occupation and their hobbies. This is the most important thing. So, and so this is again the same thing, that how can we make their lives easier? That's the main and the most important question that we all should answer. I think in every profession, maybe even if you are in the refraction room when you are refracting a patient, the number one question in your mind is to make the vision best, right? What is making the how is making vision best important to you? Because it's going to make the life of the patient better. It's going to improve the quality of the life of that patient, and that is what's important, right? That's a key point that we are looking for. We want to make their lives better. We all are doing in our different ways. Some of you might be doing contact lens practice, and that is the way you look at uh, improving the quality of life of a patient. Some of you might be practicing low vision, and that might be a way of improving the way a person functions. For me, dispensing point of view, giving them the proper lens material and the frame material that they require is what I understand to making their lives better. That's my method of helping them see better, enjoy their spectacles better. So I'll just come back to the main point of why lifestyle dispensing is also important. Is I think all of you will agree that one pair of glasses is not enough for everyone today. It's because everyone has so many different visual demands all across, from their work in their work life towards their whatever hobby they have. So one pair of spectacles is never enough for them. Also, they always need a spare pair. I think all of you must have seen a lot of people bringing in spectacles like this, stuck with glue, Feviquick, or maybe sellotape, and just pushing ahead with one pair of glasses, which is not good. Uh, so I won't be saying that you force people to buy more than one pair of glasses, but it's just that your work is to convey them that this is what can make them help them in a better way. And I'll give you examples of how you can do lifestyle dispensing. It can be done in many ways. It's up to your practice, where are you practicing, depending on your availability of lenses or whatever. But I'll be just talking very generally, that how you should consider one's lifestyle, uh, their overall uh, life outside the clinic, what all activities they do, and then suggest them how many glasses or what type of glasses they should go for. uh, what's the biggest competition for spectacles? I won't say competition, but then contact lenses. uh, I'm just talking business point of view. We don't make much money on contact lenses. Of course, they're good for certain groups of people, anisommetropes, or maybe people with high refractive error, but then it's not really a competition. Just wanted to uh, just joking, but then my point is that it's something that a lot of optical shops feel that it's a competition, that contact lens wearer is not a spectacle customer, and we are losing out on him. It's a market that we can't really grab. It's not like that, because contact lenses, okay, they have their own advantages, but then one major disadvantage of contact lens, uh, even though modern contact lens materials have UV protection, in the monomer in them, they have one major disadvantage. And the disadvantage is, they don't provide UV protection around the eye, right, to the eyelid, to the external. uh, and a person who works long hours outdoors, in summer, it's where when it's too sunny and they're actually primarily a outdoor worker, maybe they're a civil engineer or an architect working outdoors surveying a site. Okay, they are wearing contact lenses, that's good, but what about the UV protection? And when you're out there working for long hours in the sun, it's not just UV protection, it's also the amount of discomfort. So they tend to feel dry quicker. I think you all would have seen contact lens patients complaining of dryness in summer, especially the ones who wear them for long hours outdoors. For them, it's very important that you can actually offer them a pair of polarized sunglasses. Let them wear their sunglasses, let them wear their contact lenses. You can offer them a pair of uh, sunglasses. I think, yeah, we'll come back to all the questions later. So, and you either that, or you can also offer them prescription sunglasses separately. So if they are particularly working long hours outdoors, you can offer them that you can wear this prescription sunglasses when you are working outdoors, and it will actually make a difference. They'll be very comfortable with it. Again, for children, uh, so children, they tend to use glasses in a very rough way. They might be throwing it here and there, play when they're going in the playground. If you give them ARC coated lenses, they are scratched like anything. So you can just give them a cheap pair for their rough use when they are going to play in the playground or whatever. And hard coat lenses are the cheapest. They are not expensive. So you can give them an extra pair of spectacles with hard coat lenses, which they can use for their rough use, which will take that wear and tear. And yeah, so also we'll come to intermediate RX. And what intermediate RX basically is we spoke about it last time, that people who have working distance beyond reading. Yeah, yeah.
Abhijit, sir,
Yes, yes.
I would like to add the question. I like to add the question here. So there are some people saying that like don't cut off the blue light, right? Which are from blue light or UV light from the suns. This should also works for the controlling of myopia. Yes, it is also good in case of dispensing the hard coated lenses for the children in the point of view of scratching or long duration. But
Mhm.
there are some people like who are want to sell the good glasses and who want to make more profit by adding the some features on the glasses. So what could be
Right.
the our relation for them? Yes.
So I'll come to myopia control, and so that is my last part. But so blue cut lenses are still very debatable. I don't know of a study which says that blue cut lenses will actually control myopia to a significant level. So I won't comment on blue cut lenses that much. See, of course, when you want to sell, so that is all hard selling. You see, Kapil, that is all hard selling. You want to make more profit, so you are trying and selling all that. I don't like to do that. What I will do is I'll give them a pair of good spectacles. Maybe if they want a blue cut spectacles for their indoor use, for using in the school or whatever. But I will also suggest them that, see, the ARC coating on the blue cut lens, or any good lens, it has a good ARC coating. However good the ARC coating is, it will peel off with rough use, and children use it very roughly. When they go in the playground, they'll throw in the sand. The ARC coating is very thin and it's very delicate, so it's not meant for that kind of rough use. So I will suggest them to buy or have one spare pair for their child with hard coat lenses, which is very cheap, and it will be very good for them. They will not spoil the expensive one. And we'll come to the options for myopia control at the end of this. I have a separate PDF for that. Yeah, so I'll come back to intermediate RX. I think we spoke about this last time, a lot of it, that intermediate RX are though for people, who have whose working distance is majorly more than reading distance, and it's less than 1 meter. So it's somewhere between 60 centimeters to 1 meter. Mostly people who continuously work in data entry or at banks or as teachers. It's for those kind of people. I think we spoke a lot about intermediate RX last time in a lot of depth. I'll just very simply tell you that how it can be considered while looking at the lifestyle. So when you are dispensing a progressive lenses, it's okay. You are giving them a progressive lens, but then they also have maybe a hobby, or maybe they they have some kind of work uh, on some days in the week where they have to do data entry continuously. So with a progressive, of course they can see intermediate, but they need to adjust their neck in certain way, and that causes a lot of neck strain. So in that case, you can actually give them a separate pair of intermediate RX, single vision. You can calculate the intermediate prescription and give them this. It will offer them very good field of view, better than any progressive, and it will also give them less fatigue, so they'll not have pain in the neck area, so they'll be comfortable with it. So this is a very good way that you can also, and they might also like this because see, progressive is good for them for all distances, it's okay. But for particular, if they continuously want to work for 3 hours doing work on their desktop or their computer, uh, they can these are also called office spectacles, so that you can keep this they can keep this pair in their office, or wherever they work, where they want to work more on the computer, they can wear progressive all around the day. And when they are doing more computer work, they can wear this intermediate RX. This is just a suggestion. If for people, some people who work more on the computer, people who are doing more data entry, or people who are bankers, or people who are teachers, etc., even tailors for that matter, tailors won't be really happy with progressive lenses, because they often have a very close, you know near working range. So you might also offer them, rather than an intermediate, you might offer them a close spectacle, specially for close this thing, with slightly more addition. So you can go around, and there are a lot of ways you can do this. So I'll come at polarized. So polarized sunglasses are also very good, and it's actually, I've had patients who come in and they say that polarized has been really really helpful for them. uh, so these are people who, who are actually driving long outdoors, uh, or they have a sports hobby, maybe they are playing cricket on the weekend. If you give them a pair of sports, like a polarized sunglass, it makes a huge difference to them. The amount of glare a polarized sunglass cuts, it beats any lens. It beats a photochromatic lens. It beats a proper sunglass, a dark sunglass. It cuts glare. It works on altogether different principle of polarization. I think we all studied that in optometric optics. So polarized sunglasses are altogether very helpful for people who are working outdoors, who are playing sports. And you can also offer polarized sunglasses in prescription nowadays. So for, dedicated sportsman who's specially playing outdoors, who's actually very dedicated to his sports, and he's playing outdoors 2 days 3 days a week, you can give them a pair of polarized sunglasses with their RX, and they'll happily be able to use it, and it will make a big difference to their game, to their performance, to their vision. And I think you all must have seen this, how important it is to consider safety, polycarbonate or Trivex for certain occupations. So people working in industries, people working in where they have a lot of occupational hazards, they're continuously working with tools, mechanics, or those kind of welders and those kind of people. You can see how the safety glasses has just saved this person's eye, and it's all because this material is polycarbonate. So this is also one very important point we should all remember. Polycarbonate for safety. We spoke about how polycarbonate has the lowest Abbe value, and it is not good optically. It is not the best material you should give for optical quality. It has lot of chromatic aberration. So polycarbonate बहुत अच्छा material नहीं है in terms of lens का quality. But then safety wise, polycarbonate, nothing can beat polycarbonate. वो सबसे best है. So you can give them to machine operators, mechanics, people who are continuously working with instruments, carpenters. If you don't want to make them, polycarbonate is slightly expensive. It's not available everywhere. If you don't want to give them polycarbonate RX, like with their prescription separately, there are a lot of what do you say, uh, safety glasses, safety goggles, oversized goggles, which they can wear over their normal spectacles, and they are made of polycarbonate, and they offer full protection from the side and everything. So they can go ahead with this kind of uh, a goggle which they can wear over their regular this thing, and they are not very expensive. They are readily available. They are not very expensive. They can wear this only when they are working with their particular when they are around that dangerous equipment, when they are constantly working with nails or whatever, cutter or whatever. In that case they can wear this. And also this is not really exactly lifestyle dispensing, but then we need to consider these are the freebies we can give. So freebies is like what we can offer in free and what will actually help the patient. So we can see this is actually a 3-in-1 screwdriver, which the patient can easily use whenever they want to tighten the spectacles. This is a dry cleaner, like comes with a keychain they can keep in their pocket. If they're working in a dusty environment, you can give a couple of these to them. They can clean their spectacles. These are silicone side tips. So if it's a patient who continuously complains of their spectacles falling down, they can use these kind of things. So these are just certain freebies that you can give instead of giving them offers or reducing the price. You can give these kind of things. uh, I really haven't gone into discussing too much. Last time the presentation went on for too long, so I've kept it very short. If there's something you all want me to discuss, I can go back and talk about it. Uh, yes, I'll talk about myopia in a bit. If there are any questions until now, you all can just. I'll talk about the specific lens for myopia control. I'll come back to it in 2 minutes. You all can just have a discussion.
Okay, sir. You had told that contact lens is comparatively less profitable than the spectacle. So can you please little bit elaborate it?
Yeah. So I honestly don't have anything against contact lens. When I used to work, I used to do very good contact lens sales. So I don't have anything against contact lens. But then obviously, if you are an independent practitioner, if you have your own shop or own clinic, you have to keep in mind all the overhead expenses. You have to pay the shop rent, the staff, whatever. So in that case, contact lens is not absolutely the most profitable thing in your shop. Contact lens has profit. It gives you a 25, 30, 40% margin. Like 35%, 40% is the max. Whereas with spectacles, you can be creative and you can actually uh, have a good amount of profit on spectacles as compared to contact. It's as just comparison. Contact lens, you don't make as much profit as spectacles, but then of course you give contact lens where it's necessary. Anisomtropes, high refractive error, people who are not for cosmetic reasons, contact lens are amazing. For women who want to attend marriages or social functions, contact lens are amazing. There's no doubt that contact lens are good, but just that it's less profitable in terms of independent practice.
Okay. Okay. If anybody have a question or queries, please uh, uh, inbox in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and go for the question.
So we can have a general discussion. You can give your thoughts and opinion on lifestyle dispensing. Lifestyle dispensing is also discussed in terms of contact lenses, uh, wherein now you have multiple types of contact lenses. You have anti-fatigue contact lenses, you have myopia control contact lenses, you even have transitions in contact lenses. So lifestyle dispensing is everywhere. It's basically just giving the right product to the right person. That's all that lifestyle dispensing is. So we have a question here: what type of lens you suggest for barber or who work in beauty parlor? So uh, basically it's more of an indoor, they are more of an indoor job, and I don't think they really require ARC coated lenses. I would go with a simple hard coat single vision spectacle for them if they are single vision. If they are press biopes, I would highly recommend intermediate single vision spectacle for them rather than progressive or bifocal. The reason is a barber usually works at arm length, so 65-70 centimeters. So if you give them a progressive or a bifocal, they need to adjust their neck a lot and they will not be comfortable with that posture because they have been cutting hair since many years, even before presbyopia. So they are used to a particular posture. So in that case, I think I'll give them an intermediate single vision spectacle if they are presbyope. If they are normal regular adults, then I'll give them hard coated uh, lenses. The reason is they're working always working around hair and lot of particles and dust and all that kind of the environment is that way. If they have outdoor activity, you can suggest them a separate photochromatic pair or a separate polarized sunglass, but that is there, that is separate. But primarily I would be hard coat single vision lens. I'll
Okay.
also show you something. I'll just share something. This is a product that we have actually. I think it will be visible on your screen. So this is basically very interesting. Uh, these are mirror coated lenses. I think you all must have seen mirror coated lenses. So they have a mirror coating. So it is basically more of fashionable thing, more of a cosmetic thing where you have a mirror coating on a sunglass. This is very unique. So this is a product which has mirror coating and also a polarized filter in between. So it works as both. I'll just show you.
Video it's so lagging, sir. It's not playing continuously.
These are lenses which have mirror coating and they also have polarization. Normally you only have one. So this is a very specialized product. But my point is there are a lot of options available. You all can discuss anything else, any shortly,
Okay, sir. How
your
much
point of view on what all you
expensive?
dispense.
Sir, this type of glasses,
Uh,
how much expensive in comparison with the like single mirror coated glasses or with the polarized glasses?
okay, so they are not that expensive. So I'll just give you an example. I'll give you in Indian rupees. Let's say the normal. So I'm telling wholesale prices. What price opticians get? What price you sell to the patient or the customer depends on you. But then what price optician get if you want prescription in just mirror coated lenses? They will cost you around 2500 or 3000 rupees. If you are going with
Okay.
just polarized, it's around that 2500 3000 rupees, 2500 or 3000. But if you are going with something like this, they are like 4000 4500. not very big difference, 1,000 rupees difference, but the point is these all are available. It is not like it's not available. These options are there. These are not very expensive. Of course, some brands might sell you very expensive, but
So these might be more good for outdoor, right, sir?
sorry,
This will be a more good for outdoors only.
it is very good for, it is only for outdoors. So polarized you can't wear
Yes.
indoors. Indoors it will look very dark, so your vision will
Mm.
actually drop, and you also can't wear at night. Polarized lenses you can't wear at night. It is particularly only and only for summer and very sunny days. So it will cut all the glare. The cheaper option to this is you can always give a photochromatic lens, right? A day and night lens
Mhm.
which turns dark when you go in the sun. That doesn't offer you polarized protection, but it is good. It is not very expensive. It is reasonable.
Okay. I guess we didn't have much more questions, sir. So let's
No
proceed
problem.
to the next. Yes,
Hello?
yes.
Sure. Yeah. Hello.
Yes,
Hello?
yes, please.
Hello? Yes, sir. So,
Yes.
for night driving, what you suggest? Like everyone is
Uh,
preferring polarized for night driving in Nepal, as for me.
uh, I know. I know that's a very big mistake actually. A lot of companies started advertising polarized for night driving, but
Okay.
it is not good. I'll just show you something. 1 minute. I have in my WhatsApp. 1 minute. Nice, you asked me this question. Uh, so basically, it is called. So you have amber tinted lenses for night driving. So which are yellow or brown color tinted lenses. 1 minute. I'll just show you. Okay. 1 minute. So those are for night driving. Polarized are not good because polarized, they will cut light lot of this thing, like things will appear very dark and it will not be safe for the patient to wear them at night. So we won't really prefer that. Yeah. So I'll just show you the other one which we have. So those are called amber tinted lenses. Those are preferred for night driving. So those are basically, yeah. So 1 minute, I'll just start my screen sharing. Yeah. Okay. Can you see this?
Yeah, I can see.
Yeah. So this is something. So this color you see, right? It's called amber color.
Okay, amber
What it does,
tinted.
yes, amber tinted lenses. So they
Okay.
actually improve contrast and low light. So we should actually prescribe this kind of. We have amber tinted lenses which turn dark in day.
Okay.
So you understood. So we just don't. We before we only had amber tinted lenses which we can only give for night. So one spectacle specially for night. Now you
Okay.
don't need to do that. Now you can give this lens which is amber in the night and it becomes dark in the sun. So this is a modified version of photochromatic lenses, even better. So at night their contrast will improve, and in normal day it will be like normal sunglass. Yeah. So these are just some variations that we could do. So we have our own lab, so we can do all this variation. So this is
No,
our
sir.
product that we just tried to make, you know.
Yeah, I'm getting you, but you told
Yeah.
to give amber tinted lens. So its name is amber tinted lens,
Yes.
or just now you showed that last one slide. Can I have it, please?
Yeah. So yeah. So that is our product,
Okay.
ma'am. Amber is just the name of the color. Like you have yellow, red, you know.
Yeah, yeah, I'm
So
getting.
if you order lens to any company, no, you can ask them to color amber. But if they don't
Okay.
have amber tinted lens, you don't have any option. Then you can, but don't give polarized for night. That is not good.
Okay.
but this is our own lens actually. So we have made this lens. It is amber in night and it is dark in day. So this is a different product altogether.
Okay.
It
Thank
depends
you.
company to company. Different people will give you different products.
Mm.
But this is something very unique that we have.
Okay.
It also, so lot of this also depends on what your the lab near you offers. You know, you are limited with that. Whatever they are offering, you should go ahead with that. But in any case, if you all want any specialty lenses or want any suggestion on that, uh, you can drop me an email or you can contact me, and I can tell you what specific lens for what, and I can even send across a lens to you. Yeah.
Okay, sir, we have to head for the next presentation.
Sure, no problem. No
With
problem.
almost
I'll just okay. So I'll just I don't really have a presentation as such. I think myopia control. Lot of people have already spoke in lot of depth, lot of detail. What I'll do is I'll just use this PDF that I have, and I'll try and explain it bit by bit. Yeah. So basically,
Okay.
is it visible? Is it visible and clear? Let me know. It's just loading, I think.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it is visible, sir.
Okay. So yeah. So basically, this is a lens that we developed like in our lab, and it's based on COMET study. It's a very popular myopia control study.
Sir, can you please rotate it?
I have rotated it.
Like,
You all can't. I have rotated it. Yeah.
yes, now it's good. Yes, now.
Okay. So I hope it's clear and visible now. So basically, this lens. So I'll just explain it very shortly. I think myopia control has been discussed in lot of depth, and lot of other people have spoke about myopia control and its importance in a lot of way. I'll just simply tell you that this particular lens is a very simple lens that you can dispense, because ortho K and other multifocal contact lens, they are very expensive, not available, and all that kind of thing. This is something that we have started offering to our patients and our customers. So this I'll just show you. So we all know that in an uncorrected myope, the image shell, as we call it, forms ahead of the retina, right? And when we correct it with our regular concave lenses, what happens is the image is focused at the fovea or at the macula. But then what about the peripheral refraction? So it is seen that when we correct with the normal regular concave lenses, the peripheral, we see peripheral hyperopia, and that actually causes that hyperopic defocus in the periphery. It is actually a stimulus for the growing eye to grow elongate. So children, they emetropize, right? Their eyeballs are growing. So this hyperopic defocus with our normal correction, the normal spectacles that we give, in that hyperopic correction, we are actually telling the eye to grow more. Yeah, so this is very clear. I think this is very simple and very clear. So that hyperopic defocus actually makes the myopia worsen, and it actually causes myopia progression. So we are not helping children by giving normal spectacles. We are correcting their vision. They are getting 6/6, but in the periphery, the refraction goes hyperopic and their eyes start elongating. So this is not the proper way to correct, but unfortunately, all of us have been doing correction with just regular traditional correction, concave lenses. But this is the way. This is something we should consider. So this hyperopic defocus is very important. Yeah, and I think we all know the dangers of myopia and what is going to happen to myopia in the future. So as myopia increases, as the degree of myopia increases, the risk for cataracts, glaucoma, retinal detachment, macular degeneration, it all goes up, by many folds. And we also know this very popular study, Brandon Holden study, that By 2050, half of the world might be myope. So what is the solution to all this? So this is a lens that we have. It's called MyoView. It's basically based on COMET guidelines. So COMET guidelines show that though this is a multifocal design actually. It's related to a short corridor progressive design, but it's specifically designed and fitted to slow the progression of myopia in the growing age children from 8 to 16 years old. And you can see all these studies in the literature which show that this kind of design, how much percent of myopia progression decreases with these. And if you look at the long-term data, it positively shows a good amount of myopia control. So it's around 25% with this study, the 2012 study. So basically, it's better than doing nothing. There are studies which show that ortho-K shows more control. Uh, and of course, myopia control and myopia progression is an ongoing study. It's still going on and on. There is low dose atropine, which is highly studied. I think a lot of experts have spoken about that. So there are still studies looking at combining this type of intervention along with a low dose atropine. So you can combine this. So these are just normal spectacles, right? Full time wear. And you can also give them low dose atropine at night, 0.01% or 0.001%, whichever way. You can ask your ophthalmologist to help you prescribe that, and you can also dispense this. The point is, rather than traditional correction in which we are worsening myopia, why can't we start offering this kind of solution? And I think all of us can start prescribing this kind of MyoView myopia control lens. This is not readily available everywhere. Different companies market it by different ways. This is our own product. And if there are any questions, I think all of you must have understood the logic behind it. It is all based on hyperopic defocus. We want to correct that hyperopic defocus in the periphery. And if you all have any particular questions with this, I'll be happy to take. And if you all want to know how to get this lens, I can help you with that. You all can help me. You all can contact me, and you can send me your prescription, and we can work around sending you and start practicing myopia control on a local level. You can start dispensing a couple of pairs of these. They're not very expensive, and we can work around how we can start practicing myopia control very easily, very simply, because ortho-K multifocals, those are comparatively more expensive, and they're not really that easily available. And these are just simple spectacles, so I think not a lot of counseling is required, and you can easily explain this to parents along with lifestyle modification, more time outdoors, less time in front of a near device. And I think it should give us a good amount of myopia control. I think 20-25% easily. So you all can give me your thoughts on this. I've not kept a very long presentation about anything, just generally talking about this. So you all can
Okay,
yeah.
yes, this is mostly about the hyperopic defocus, and there are the certain type of reversive progressive lens as well. So it's also based on the controlling of the accommodation or to provide the reverse progressive PAL lens. So what is about giving a reverse progressive lens?
Reverse progressive is not given. It's like a standard, but it's a different design. So the logic behind giving this kind of lens, more than controlling the accommodation or relaxing the accommodation, I think it's more to do with the hyperopic defocus. So the addition part of a progressive design, it will actually correct the hyperopic defocus. It will bring it in line, or it will make it myopic defocus. So in that way, the eye will not grow that much. The eye will get the signal to stay the size it is. Even if it grows, it will not grow very fast. But with hyperopic defocus, the eye will think, the sclera will keep elongating. The hyperopic defocus gives the message to the eye that you should keep growing. There is still time to grow. And that's why myopia progression happens. I think there are
There
two
is
schools
one
of
study. Yes.
yeah yeah,
Mhm,
yeah.
yes,
Tell me.
yes, sir. There,
So
we have done one of yes, yes. So I have found one of the research that from the AAO. So they are measuring the accumulation regarding the refractive error, and the most of the them are found there is mostly on the myopia correction after doing the cyclophysical refraction. They found in the most of the case there are a little of accumulation after correcting the myopia. And on this base, and some of the people have started to practice the reverse type of progressive lenses. So I don't know, I didn't have this much of knowledge about this, but I just have a curiosity, how my accommodation was related with the progression of the myopia.
right. So there is no reverse type of progressive couple. That is something I have not heard. I think just a standard progressive. And also there is no
Okay,
lead of accommodation in myopia. After myopia correction, it is shown that there is lag of accommodation.
okay.
Most studies show that there is lag of accommodation. Also, see, I'll tell you something. Still, it is not very clearly understood that why myopia actually progresses. There are multiple theories. There is dopamine theory of sunlight and vitamin D. There is accommodative lag theory. There is hyperopic defocus theory. But broadly, it is still very difficult to pinpoint one cause. I think even the speaker before us, Dr. Gian, the one from Spain, I think even he spoke that we can't really pinpoint at one factor for myopia progression. So it is very broad. But I think the best option that we have currently is suggesting patients to reduce their time indoors, spend less time on near objects, doing near tasks, spend more time outdoors, preferably in sunlight, and also intervene with some kind of lenses like this. Even ortho-K works on the same principle. Even ortho-K helps in correcting the hyperopic defocus. So, and also with accommodation, uh, so this particular progressive design, hello, I think you can unmute.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. So this particular progressive design, uh, it not only corrects the hyperopic defocus, it also takes care of the accommodation. Of course, there is some plus power, and that will automatically relax the accommodation as well as take care of hyperopic. So this is a two-in-one action thing. You can also add atropine, as I told. You can give this kind of myopia control lens, and you can give atropine, and that I think should give you very good results with myopia control. Again, I'm saying that not too many studies have been done on this, but we can try dispensing this kind of lenses and see the results, and we can come to know what exactly is going on. And if you all are really
Ah,
interested, I can help you with providing these
sir,
lenses, and you can start prescribing to
okay, so
your
there is
patients along with atropine.
okay, so there is one question. She's asking first, so what about the optics of the lens that you use for the control of myopia?
So the optics is nothing. It's based on Comet guidelines. So there is a very famous study. So there was Comet 1 and Comet 2. So Comet is a very popular long-term study based on myopia control. So it studied about all aspects of myopia. So uh, so Comet 1, and then the correction of myopia evaluation trial, that's Comet. So there were two very long trials. It's been happening since 2000. So the Comet 2 happened in 2011. So they studied all different designs, and we are just using what design they have suggested. It's nothing but it's basically close to a short corridor progressive. It's similar to a short corridor progressive, but it's not exactly a progressive. The fitting and the design is slightly altered while surfacing, and we take care of that, and that is what this is. But it's all in the literature. I think if you search Comet 2, you'll get all the design information. But it's not like you can take any progressive and fit. You need to ask the lab about the specific details of the progressive lens and the design, and then you can go ahead and use it for myopia control. It's not FDA approved. It's something going in trial and error. but I think this should work because it is related to the literature, and so many studies are actually telling us that it is actually controlling myopia. It's not controlling as good as ortho K, but it's offering 20-25%, which is good enough. Ortho K gives more than that, better myopia control, but ortho K is very expensive. Yeah, so there's someone, a study done by Cheng, how much
Yes.
advantage exactly. So this is, so they also compared executive bifocals, so bifocals with a line in the middle, which are also called Franklin bifocals, with 1.5 ad or 2 ad, but it's similar. So the results are similar. I think you can see here. Yeah, exactly. So yeah. So the bifocal, yeah, this is what I wanted to show. So this is bifocals. So the standard D or flat top bifocal, there is specific progressive addition lens, and there is executive type bifocal. And you can see the results you are getting. Executive type bifocal has good result, but then it's very difficult to fit that for a child. No, cosmetically it doesn't look good. So cosmetic appearance is a big problem with executive type bifocal, and that's why I think. But I think they all offer the same amount of control. Average is 22%. 22% control in myopia. Can you mute yourself? Yeah. So this is what. So the amount of myopia control in all the different lenses is about similar. The logic is the same. Controlling the lag of accommodation and also the hyperopic defocus. You can also do with a executive bifocal, but it's not very comfortable. It doesn't look good. It's not easily available. It's not very comfortable to the child, and cosmetically it's very bad. No child would like to want that. If you tell the parents to ask them to buy a executive bifocal, they'll not agree. So better is to go for something of this kind of design. Works on the same principle, cosmetically better, and yeah. So I think the child would accept. And the prescription of a child doesn't change for more than a year. You can moderate every year, and you can give this kind of lens, and every year you can check for the change in the prescription. And for 1 year, I think the parents would be happy to invest for a special lens like this. So we can give this until up till the growing age, so up till 16 years, because after that emmetropization kind of settles in. It just stabilizes. So we want to control myopia, so we would give it until 16 to 18 years of age. Amount of amber tint. So you want to balance. You don't want to give too dark amber tint. Something around 30-40%. Again, depends on what your lab is offering and what options you have. Yeah, so MyoView lens, it is, we don't have it, uh, like we are not marketing it as much, but if you all want, I can actually work out. I can send it to you personally. I can send it to you on a, because our lab is actually situated in Middle East. But if you all are interested, I can arrange and send you MyoView lenses. It might take some time. It might take 1 week, but I can arrange and send it to you. If you give me orders together, like 4 or 5 people, I can arrange and send those lenses to you, no problem.
Okay, sir. Up to which power MyoLens is available?
MyoView lenses are available in minus power, usually up to moderate myopia. So anything up to -6 with -2, so a moderate myopia. So there's nothing. It's defined like -6 with -2, not too high cylinder, not cylinder above -2, and myopia up to -6. That is the general guideline. That is what this design is meant for. And it is called MyoView, MYOVIEW. And this is something that we are manufacturing ourselves in Middle East. So our lab is in Sharjah. So this is something we are manufacturing on our own.
Okay, sir. There is one question. So, in which till what it can be given? I guess for myopia control, like giving to the myopia lenses.
So it's
So, in which category?
yeah.
Yes.
We want to give this lenses for myopia control, and myopia control would only make sense when the eyes are emetropizing, so the growing age. So we are looking at 6 years to 18 years. So 16, 18, after 16, 18 years it doesn't make sense. So 6 to 8 years and 16 to 18 years, that's the age range. I also wanted to talk a little bit apart from the lens, uh, the importance of refraction. So I think a lot of us uh, might also not be correcting myopia well. We need to make sure that the patient is not over accommodating, or the child is not in a accommodative spasm while we are prescribing for myopia, because often what happens, child over focalizes and they are focusing too much in the clinic, and we tend to give that much minus, but actually they don't have that minus. So whenever we are in doubt, we should send the child for cycloplegic refraction. We can give the lenses for high myopia, but so the damage is done, right? So that's why it doesn't make sense. We want to control myopia, so we are looking at earliest intervention. So the earlier we give the myopia control lens, the better result we'll get. After -6, it's already high myopia. Already the risk of glaucoma, cataract, everything is high. So what myopia control you will do? Yeah. So that's the point. So we want to control myopia at that moderate point or low myopia range.
Okay, we have discussed.
Yeah.
Yes, we have discussed most of the question. Yes, Nisad Begum saying this is a very useful session indeed. It was very very good presentation. I'm so happy for that presentation. Like we never see such type of collection, and we never see such type of things on the like textbook or anything. That's what you have present. We are so grateful for you. And okay, I guess we have done most of the questions, right, sir?
Yeah. If anyone wants to discuss anything in particular, generally, I think we'll stay for 2 minutes. If there's anything, any particular question regarding the presentation today, if anyone wants to ask, and
Yeah,
if
sir.
anyone wants to, yeah.
Yeah, I have a small question. It's not
Yes.
question like somebody visit. It's not about controlling myopia, but
Okay.
it's
Okay.
about decreasing. Like somebody we usually question like they wants to decrease their power. Some suppose somebody visited in your clinic and he wants to decrease his power, not control,
Right.
and
Right.
kept on saying that I want to decrease my power, but apart from surgery and like contact lens, he doesn't want to go for that. So how you
Right.
handle such situation? Like what you prefer to tell specific words which will be they might think that it's not possible like that. How
Right.
you
Right.
will
Right.
yeah,
So
that's
yeah,
my
so this is
question.
very interesting. I actually have
Yeah,
had patients walking in. So there is a website which actually online there is Bates method. I think you all have heard about Bates method. Bates
yeah, I
method is
heard it.
yeah. So it's like it's a very old method that says you can control myopia by calming, and I don't know, various methods. Lot of people say,
Yes,
yeah.
I go through that also and I studied about it, but there it says that like hardly point 0.5 like that decrease they have said, but only
No.
one article I have found.
Right. No, so really in our academic, like our textbooks and articles in PubMed, you won't find any study which talk about this. And really, this is a very gray area. We are still studying methods to reduce myopia or control myopia. But myopia can't be reduced because it's like you are correcting for the refractive error of the eye because the eye is too long or the cornea is too curved. So you can't reduce myopia by any way. Whatever myopia is there, you correct. You can only do proper refraction, I think. and you can counsel the patient that you can control myopia by various visual hygiene practices, 20-20-20 rule, spending more time outdoors and that kind of thing. That is what traditional optometry is teaching us. But really, a lot of people online, they talk about reducing myopia by using various exercises and all that. I personally am still confused. I'm still trying to find the answer, but those are not really accepted by optometry. So if you ask any optometry association, or if you ask any researcher, any scientist, they will say it is not true, it is all false. But lot of people online talk about reducing myopia by not wearing spectacles for some time, relaxing their eyes and all that. It might be true for some people, because the refraction done is wrong. As I told you before, sometimes patient, when he comes in, he's focalizing too much, he's over accommodating, and you don't do retinoscopy properly, or you don't do AR properly, and you just refract the patient. What will happen? He will take up too much minus. So reality, he has only -1 myopia, but when you are refracting, you will give him -1.5. And then maybe he goes to some exercise person or someone, and they tell him to relax his eyes, and his half diopter myopia goes down. So he says, wow, my myopia reduced. So it has not reduced, it is only due to wrong refraction. I think that is the reason. And if a patient comes to me, then I tell him proper taking care of his eyes and going outside, taking breaks, and yes, and maintaining proper visual hygiene. That is all I talk about. But really, it's a very gray area. There is a lot of studies to be still done, and we can always offer him contact lenses as an option in that case. Maybe he doesn't like, the patient doesn't like the cosmetic appearance of spectacles, they can go with contact lens as a correction in that case, but they can't reduce myopia. I think you should not promote that concept.
Good afternoon, Murtaza. Am I audible?
Hey, yeah, you're audible.
I would like just suggest some more points, add on to your point. Shall I do it?
Yeah, sure.
So in case of myopia control, I will suggest that people doing normal refraction is not enough. Not only doing the contact lens evaluation and consultation is not at all enough. You want to stabilize more on binocular vision correction, especially performing all the ISO exophoria test, hidden squint test, everything you want to do, especially even flipper you want to perform. It is very important to know lag of accommodation, then only you can go for myopia control. In India, if you are asking, I would suggest you to go for my sight contact lens, that is from Cooper Vision Lens. It is 1 day daily disposable. It is Omaphelicon material, and you can suggest this to your patients, where 2 hours you can give initially the wearable duration. Then it is like it can be increased from 2, 4, 6 hours. Then a continuous whole day child can wear, and this is especially working in kids, and there are so many studies supporting to this. And in India, if you want, you can go through this Cooper Vision contact lens. Just now I had a seminar on that, so I thought I'll just add that contact lens also. It is My Sight contact lens, MISIGH.
So
My Sight.
those are, yeah, so those are actually center distance designs. So that the concept is the same. It actually also corrects the peripheral hyperopic defocus. The concept is the same. It's now available by Cooper Vision, but it's quite expensive, and I don't
Yes,
know.
but
Yeah,
moreover, here in this design, it is not center distance, it is center near. Because as per the theory, we have to give center distance, but My Sight works on center near principle.
okay, then I'm not sure about that. What I
Sure.
of the studies I've read is center distances for myopia correction. But
Yes,
nice.
yes.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Nishad.
Yes, Murtaza, your sessions are so amazing. Keep conducting some
Thank
more.
you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Hello?
Yeah, it's, I think, yeah, hello.
Yeah, I'm getting what ma'am said just now. Okay, but main thing is we should perform all the binocular test in all the patient, or what? I didn't get her. Please, can
No,
you
so
elaborate?
basically, what she's trying to say is, like, if you are not correcting refracting patients properly, they might end up with lot of non-strabismic binocular vision anomalies. So the I think the key point is refracting properly, and one very important thing that you can discuss like one important step that I would like to share what I personally do. I think you all are aware of binocular balancing. So it's very important to perform proper binocular balancing, and I do it by +1 blur. So +1 blur is basically you add +1 blur. It causes 2 lines blur in the vision of the the visual acuity, and you want to equalize that blur. So what I personally do is I equalize the blur in both eyes, plus 0.25 minus 0.25. Using +1 blur, I just know the amount of blur and I equalize it. And the also thing that you should always do is Borish. So this is a procedure, you can read about this. It's Borish delayed procedure. It is basically performing NRA and then taking the patient at distance and defogging slowly. So you can read about this.
No,
But the point is you want to
but
correct the patient properly.
yeah, I'm getting. But Boris delayed test is for hyperopic.
It's for
Or am I
hyperopic
not?
patients. No, it's for hyperopic patients. That's okay. But
Yeah,
myopes who are over accommodating too much, no, to
yeah.
relax them, this is a very good method.
Okay.
It is for hyperopes also who have that latent hyperopia. No, I know in the books it's written it's for hyperopia, latent hyperopia, hidden hyperopia. But some
Yeah.
myopes also are that way. They are accommodating so much that to relax them you can do this. This will help you
Okay.
relax them, so you can give them proper minus. I think you know
Okay.
how
Thank
much
you.
patients can accommodate, right? So
Yeah.
I'll tell you my case. So my prescription is minus 7.5, but I can actually accommodate, like I can try and accommodate, and the AR gives a reading of more than minus 12, minus 13. So if I'm focusing too much or if I'm over accommodating, it gives that type of false readings. And then it's like if you don't refract properly, you might end up giving too much minus. That is something I'm always worried about. Yeah, that's okay. I think we had enough discussion. You all can contact me if you are interested about MyoView lenses, and we can find a way. I can send you lenses. That's okay. We can find a way that you can start practicing with MyoView. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. I guess we have almost answered many of the queries. So, and considering the time limits here, I announce the closure of discussion. Okay.
Sure.
Before ending the today's session, I would like to again express my sincere gratitude towards Mr. Presenter, Mr. Mortuza, and all the attendees. And also, I would like to appreciate all the helping hands for the ITEX program. Herewith, I ending the today's session and requesting all for please drop your review and feedback. Sir, if you have any good notes for us for making this platform so more good and more interactive, so what could be your suggestion for us?
Yeah, so you were talking about independent practice. We can have a forum discussion on that. And I think you should get together some clinicians, some lecturers, and someone who is having good independent practice in Nepal. Maybe 2-3 stores or 2-3 clinics. You can contact to the proprietor or the owner of that. I think Lumbini Eye Care, or there are 2-3 big hospitals,
Yes, sir.
big clinics. You can ask someone from that management to come and have a small discussion, and we can have a panel discussion that what all we can do in independent practice. I think that will be nice. And it was good. Today's session was very interactive. I didn't make a presentation as such. You called me yesterday, so I just made a very small presentation.
Yep.
Okay.
Once again, thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Have a good
Thank
day, sir, and see you. Yes, see you, sir.